She's a fantastic mom who's now spoken with reporters from The Today Show, Upworthy, and Southern Living magazine. Niki Coffman says, I'm in a really unique position as a white woman with a black kid to help people understand why representation matters. Niki, welcome to Spirit 1053. It is so awesome having you here on the show. How did you become the world's biggest fan of Little People toys?
Well, for my little boy's 5th birthday, when we started planning his birthday, there were like 20-something kids in his class, and I just thought, oh my gosh, I cannot possibly handle 25 new toys in our home. He's the youngest grandchild on both sides. Like, we've got so many toys, we can't have more. And his school is a predominantly white preschool, and I noticed over the course of last year that they just didn't have a ton of toys and books that reflected Archer. And so instead of having people get Archer gifts, we asked our friends and family to get toys and books and art supplies for his school.
Wow.
And one of the toys lines with the most diversity, with skin tones and hairstyles and hair colors, was Fisher-Price Little People. I wrote Little People an email just thanking them for having that representation. And at the end of the email, I said, P.S., if you ever decide to design a little person with brown skin and red hair, please let us know. It's incredibly hard to find. That's what my little boy looks like. He has brown skin and bright red hair. And I've only ever found one toy in the world that looks like him.
Amazing.
And they wrote back the nicest email, like, gosh, this email has meant so much to us. Thank you for telling us. And then that was in December. And they said, what's your address? We want to make sure that you have, the full representation of Little People diversity. And I sent them my address, but, it was just before Christmas. And anyway, didn't hear back. And then in mid-May, I got an email from Gary Weber, who's the vice president at Fisher-Price, saying, we're about to send you a package. Like, I just want to make sure that you know that. And when the package arrived and I opened the box, there was this beautifully designed letter that everyone on the Fisher-Price team had signed saying, your letter touched us so much. You suggested that maybe one day there might be a little person that looked like Archer. And we thought, we can actually do one better. And the box was just full of Archers, little Archers, and the exact sweater he was wearing and the shorts, his hair, his skin, everything just perfect. It was him.
How did you feel in that moment as a mom?
Well, I burst into tears.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, in a shocking to no one turn of events, just immediately started crying because the most powerful thing that anyone can do for you or for your child is to really see your child for who they are, what they look like, but who they are. And Fisher-Price, this huge corporation that's been around since forever, did that for my kid. Like, they sat in a room somewhere and they figured out how to get it perfect for him.
I love it so much. How did Archer react? Would you just paint that picture for us?
I will, yeah. I immediately burst into tears and he, panicked. And he was like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I said, buddy, it's you. They made you. And I held up the box and his eyes got real big and his little jaw dropped. And then he ran over and snatched it from me and started running around the house going, it's me. And then carried it in his pocket, showing everyone, strangers, people we know. Showing everyone, they made me. He identifies with any toy with brown skin, but to have one that looks exactly like him, it's almost hard to describe how impactful it's been for him and for us.
How do you think this will change his life? Because I do believe this is a life-changing thing that the Little People have done.
Well, I'll tell you that it has certainly given him a lot of confidence. He was not a kid lacking in confidence before, but he feels very good about it now. But I think what this kind of act does when someone or a company in this case extends themselves in this way to make sure that you see yourself it inspires you to do the same. For the rest of his whole life, this is his interesting fact, right? Like
Wow.
in Icebreakers, that Fisher-Price made a toy of me because nothing existed that looked like me. He's a super observant kid. So just making sure that, that the people in the spaces that he's in also see themselves reflected, and that's something we work really hard on as parents, but also what this kind of gift does is reinforce that.
Does this just flood your heart with so much hope that maybe we could just see each other more, that maybe we could just, go overboard when it comes to celebrating diversity?
Yeah. And so one thing that I try to help the people in Archer's life understand, and something that Fisher Price understands so beautifully, is that not seeing color actually isn't helpful because it erases kids like Archer, right? So Fisher Price sees the world in like technicolor, where they're making sure that the kids with braids see themselves and the kids in wheelchairs and the kids with disabilities, the kids with vitiligo, like they're making sure that as kids are playing, they're seeing the full, beautiful spectrum of humanity in their toys. And to me, that's what makes us human. That's not what makes us good, is that we can see that. We can recognize, actually, there's not a toy that looks like this kid. That, this kid represents a population that isn't seeing themselves. And how can we fix that? And it wouldn't be possible if we glossed over the fact that he actually is different. I think for me that the beauty of humanity and the beauty of Fisher Price in seeing the world as vibrantly as it actually is in our day-to-day lives.
Oh, I have enjoyed this conversation so much. Niki, she's a rock star mom and a big fan of the little people. Niki, I'm a fan of yours. Thanks for being with
Oh,
us.
thank you. Yeah, my pleasure. Y'all have a good one.
You too, dear.